Good evening. I'm Jordan Early, and tonight we are fortunate to be joined with Dr. Chip Lambert from the Benevelance Foundation, who has served over in Haiti following the earthquake. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
If you could tell us a little bit about the Benevelance Foundation and how they became involved in helping over in Haiti.
The Benevelance Foundation is a validated partner of the Presbyterian Church USA, and we've been going to Haiti and supporting various medical entities down there since the 1970s. So when the earthquake struck, it happened to be in Leogane, which is where the epicenter of the earthquake was, and it's where we have both a hospital and a nursing school there. So we had a real vested interest to go down there and see exactly what had happened, and so it was my job to go down there and do some assessments.
And when did you go after the earthquake? Was it right after?
Yes, I was down there within 4 or 5 days after the earthquake occurred.
And how long were you there for?
I stayed for 2 weeks.
And how was the situation when you left?
Well, it was much improved. When I first got there, there was no working hospital, so we converted the nursing school, which had acted as an area where people came for medical care because there were nursing students there. So we converted their dormitories into operating rooms, triage areas, ambulatory clinics, things like that. They didn't have any of that until I got there. And then I coordinated 3 different airline shipments worth between $30 and $50 million worth of medicines in there. And that was about a little over 60,000 pounds worth of supplies. So with that, we were able to build more capacity. We were able to establish not one, but even a second, and then on to a third operating room so that we could perform a lot of surgery.
Were there any medical precautions that you needed to take before you went over there, like safety precautions?
Well, for most people who don't travel to undeveloped countries, it's a little risky. I mean, malaria is there, hepatitis. People who don't have all of their shots or immunizations up to date, it's not very smart for them to be traveling. But I do this full time, so I didn't really have to go and get any new shots.
Did you at any point feel like giving up while you're there because the situation was just so bad?
No, it's an uphill battle. Haiti is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. They were already down a leg, and unfortunately now they're down 2 legs. But MBF has been there for decades. We're not going to be leaving anytime soon. We're actually developing some new 5- and 10-year strategy right now.
Did you have any particular story about helping someone that you'll always remember?
There were a lot of stories of helping people. I think some of the ones that come to mind now are how we had to make do. We had to be very resourceful. When we got there, there was not very many instruments, not very many medications. We actually had to go out to a local man who used to run a hardware store, which was demolished, and we purchased a hacksaw from him and used that to saw some of the legs off. So some of those type memories will really stand out for a long time to come.
Have you stayed in touch with anyone that you've treated there?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, communication down there is still kind of difficult, but through people that I know that stayed behind me or who went back after I did, I've been able to communicate with some of those people.
Compared to the other places you've gone and traveled, is this to help out? Is this the worst that you've seen?
It was similar. I did some work in Sri Lanka after the tsunami, and I did a lot of work along the Gulf Coast after Katrina. But this is probably the most difficult that I've ever had to work. There were long hours. We had very little resources. Communications were very difficult. So I tell people it was the most difficult I've ever done, and I've probably done 30 or 40 of these.
Well, I'd like to thank you for joining us today. Is there anything else that I didn't cover that you might like to add?
It's going to be a long process, rebuilding Haiti. And, MBF is going to be there for the long haul, and we can always use people's prayer and support and, stay with us along the way.
One more question. Do you plan on going there back back there anytime soon?
I'll be there next month.
For how long?
I don't know, for at least a week. We built a modular temporary hospital now, and we're probably going to be using that for the next 2 or 3 years until we can actually build a better facility. So I'll be in and out of Haiti, I'm sure.
All right, well, thank you for joining us tonight. That's all the time we have left. Moore County Line is on the way.